This is paragraph 3, and let's mark paragraph 3. And so let's look at this question for understanding. How is energy classified? Are there different types or forms of energy? And so these next two paragraphs are about the two basic types of energy, the way we think about energy. There are two basic types of energy: potential energy and kinetic energy. And let's just circle kinetic energy because this paragraph is about kinetic energy. So kinetic energy is the energy of motion. It is energy that is in use. Let's get your green marker and let's just get that marked right now. So kinetic energy, and let's draw a link over to here. It is the energy of motion. It is the energy that is in use. So when a golfer swings the club, again, the club has kinetic energy. As the golf ball sails through the air, it also has kinetic energy. Some of the kinetic energy from the golf club was transferred, and here's this word again, transferred, energy being transferred. Some of the energy from the golf club was transferred to the golf ball at the moment of impact. So, key idea here, get your blue pencil. All moving objects have kinetic energy. Things in nature like moving water and wind also have kinetic energy. So if you look at this little point down here, this little picture down here, you got a guy on a bicycle that's obviously moving in order to get up a hill. As he's going up the hill and gets to the top of the hill, he has potential energy. When he goes down the hill, he has energy being released from him having this position at the top of the hill, and that is released as kinetic energy. So paragraph 4. So potential energy then is energy that is stored. Get your green marker and link it right here. Potential energy is energy that is stored. It is energy that is not in use but is available to be used and to cause work to be done. So that means that when an object is sitting still, it can have energy stored inside that can be turned into kinetic energy or motion. This is true of all matter. Some potential energy is based on position. In other words, above the ground. Because of Earth's gravitational pull, any object that can fall has stored energy. For example, if you have two books and you place one book on the top shelf and one book on the lower shelf, the position of the book on the top shelf causes it to have greater potential energy than the book on the bottom shelf. So potential energy can also be found in fossil fuels. Potential energy can also be found in fossil fuels like coal, petroleum, and natural gas. This is chemical potential energy, and once you go, just get your red marker, and we need to actually mark that in red as well. Okay, so chemical potential energy. Energy in fossil fuels is chemical potential energy until it is released. So go ahead and get green again, and we'll make sure we get that description clearly underlined. And so energy in fossil fuels is chemical potential energy until it is released. And we've talked about how chemical potential energy can be released. Any matter is going to have chemical potential energy because it can be burned. So again, your blue marker, anything that can be burned, anything that is matter that can be burned is matter that can be that has energy that can be released, chemical potential energy that can be released. So anything that is matter and can be burned up has chemical potential energy. Now, I want to show you, and with that, there's not a whole lot to say. I mean, we've talked about chemical potential energy and what potential energy is from having a position against gravity, chemical potential energy. There is potential energy that would come from wind blowing. There's potential energy in wind. There's potential energy in solar energy and solar radiation. There's potential energy in water that might be held up behind a dam. So potential energy can be in many things. It can even be in something that can be burned up. And when something is burned up, like a chunk of wood, heat is released. Carbon dioxide, smoke, gas is released, and ashes are left. But I do want you to see this. I want you to watch this little animation that's occurring here. Let me clear all that stuff from the screen, and I'm going to give you just a moment or two to watch this and observe this little animation. And then we'll end this video, and you can make sure you have your paragraph marked. So notice the bars of potential energy, how potential energy is affected, how potential energy is changing as kinetic energy changes. So when the coaster comes to the top of the hill and goes over, there's a balancing of potential and kinetic energy in the movement of the coaster cart. If you have not marked these two paragraphs that we did together, please you can rewind and make sure you get all the marking, and then we'll take a look at the final paragraph.